What's up, YouTube? It's the Action Figure Grader coming back to you with a quick video. I just received in the mail today a third generation Polish bootleg Stormtrooper. And this is actually a pretty rare color combination. And I know that's surprising to hear that, given that it looks pretty much like a licensed Kenner version. But these are actually very, very difficult to find with just the white and black trim. And I was very lucky to find this one on, I believe, the Polish eBay, but the seller would not respond to me. He just would not respond. I was like, will you ship it to the US? Will you ship it to the US? And I got no response. So with the help of a good friend of mine, of course, I'm talking about the internet sensation that is Boss Bounty. He has his own channel. You can take a look at him. I'm sure you've already heard of him. Way more people have heard of him than they have heard of me. But I reached out to Tim and I was like, Tim, help me out here, man. Will you have this thing shipped to your house and then ship it to me and I'll pay you shipping and blah, blah, blah. And Tim was kind enough to do that for me. It just arrived in the mail today on Christmas Eve. This will probably go up after Christmas, so I hope that everyone had a great holiday. But I wanted to show this one to you because this is a very, very difficult figure to acquire. The last one that sold on the US eBay sold for almost double what I paid for this one. So I couldn't pass it up. It's got amazing paint on it, and it's just in great shape. It's molded in white rubber, very kind of, it's not super soft, but it is fairly malleable, if that's the right word. These third generation Polish bootleg Stormtroopers came out around 1995 to 1997, and I did put together another segment on the Polish bootleg Stormtroopers, both the unarticulated, which I'll show you in a second, as well as the articulated and some of the other rare examples out there. I also included a little section on my friend Jim's amazing Polish bootleg collection. He has a ton of these. The Stormtrooper is his focus, the Stormtrooper and the Hoth Stormtrooper. So I asked him to send me some photos, and he was kind enough to do so and agreed to allow me to add some color commentary. So that's coming up in a second, but I'm really excited to have this one. I am going to get this one graded because it's in excellent condition and very, very difficult to acquire. Usually the paint on these Stormtroopers, especially around the hands and the feet, are not in good condition, but this one is in amazing condition. And you can tell it's a third generation because the sockets have a more traditional socket like you'd find on a G.I. Joe or even the Star Wars, the vintage Kenner Star Wars figures, whereas the first generation figures had a cone shape and these arms will pop out really easily. But this one features the standard or quite common Biker Scout arms and legs. The Polish Biker Scout arms and legs are known for these knee pads as well as these ammo pouches, and then the gauntlets around the shoulders. So this is a very, very common combination. I do not believe that the TIE Fighter bootleg arms and legs are seen on a Stormtrooper. I could be incorrect on that, but to my knowledge, they all have this Biker Scout finish. And experts out there who may or may not watch this, if you're watching, please do comment if I'm saying anything incorrectly there. But what a beautiful figure. I'm going to do a quick zoom in here before I show you my unarticulated that are already graded, but just an incredible condition, and I'm very, very excited to get it. But this is a third generation. I know I mentioned I'm not going to be buying much in the way of bootlegs unless they're first generation or maybe some of the unarticulated first and second sets, but I couldn't pass this one up because this is a very difficult figure to acquire, surprisingly. You just do not see these come up well. I've only seen maybe 2 or 3 pop up in the last few years that have this standard white color. Typically, they have some yellow trim, and I'll include some photos at the end of this of my example that's a first generation with a lot of the yellow trim. I just couldn't locate it right now because my room is a complete wreck with Christmas preparations. So anyway, what an awesome item. Tim, thank you again for all the logistical help on getting this to me. It really is a beautiful figure, and I'm very excited to have it. Now, before we cut to the segments I put together on the Polish bootlegs and some of the history behind them, I wanted to show you my 2 first set unarticulated Polish Stormtroopers. These are these arms and legs do not move on these. They're unarticulated or static, and one's in white and one is in gold. This one white. This is in silver or gold, but this silver with the black trim is graded 80 by Collector Archive. It's a really nice example, and you know, you don't typically find these first set unarticulated in such good condition. It's got a little bit of, maybe some black rubber showing through. A lot of these first set unarticulated troopers are made from black rubber, so you do have a little bit, it looks like, of the paint is wearing off around the back there and around the feet. But for a first set unarticulated, this is in pretty close to immaculate condition. It's about as good as it gets. My gold one is more typical for the type of condition that you find them in. They also do make these in kind of a whitewash finish. There's a pure black example, and I've got a couple of photos from Jim's collection that'll show you some of those. But this one is graded 50, exact same time period as this other first set that came out around 1984 or 1985. But this gold one is much more in keeping with the types of condition that you'll typically find these in. You can see the heavy wear around there. This is obviously molded in black rubber and then painted like a coppery kind of gold. But nevertheless, I'm very excited to have that, or I'm very pleased with it, even though it's not in perfect condition. This gold one, when I bought it from an older gentleman in Germany several years ago, he included a first generation dark blue blaster with it. And I didn't know it at the time, but those are actually very difficult to find, those first generation weapons. So I included that one, and I'm sure you've seen it on my Instagram and on my YouTube channel in the past, but I included it with a first generation articulated Polish bootleg Boba Fett with an unused card back that I sent. So it was a great acquisition, if only for that weapon. It really came in handy when I put that other project together. But anyway, let's stop right here, and I'll be right back with some other cool photos from other collections and from Jacob Brzezinski's book. Hold on one second. I wanted to share with you guys some additional information about these Polish bootlegs. In the middle photo, you will see my copy of Jacob Brzezinski's book, Far, Far Away, A Guide to Unlicensed Vintage Polish Star Wars Figures. It's a fantastic book, but unfortunately it is now sold out. So for anyone that does not have a copy, you will have to wait until he makes a second edition, hopefully. I have my gold and my silver Stormtrooper standing guard next to Leia. On the left-hand side, you'll see a brief introduction to this first set unarticulated line. There were approximately 17 characters made in this initial wave, and these came out about 1984 or 1985 in Poland. One other interesting tidbit of information is when these were released in the Polish market in 1985, these only cost about 10 cents in terms of US dollars, which is insanely inexpensive. Jacob says there are about 1,750 of these first set unarticulated Polish bootlegs across all figures still surviving today. And on the right hand side, you'll see some other color examples as shown in the book, including the silver and gold that are in much better condition than mine, one of them unpainted silver and one of them with the black highlights like mine. The top one that's in black and white is extremely difficult to find. I've only seen a couple for sale over the last few years. My buddy Jim has some other examples that I'll show you a little bit later on in this video. I did forget to include one other item in my collection. On the right hand side is a first generation articulated Polish Stormtrooper, and this one is encased with a Polish bootleg G.I. Joe style weapon. As I've mentioned in other videos, I probably wouldn't do this today if I was submitting to collector archive services for preserving. I just feel like it sort of detracts from the beauty of the Star Wars figure by itself. And on the left-hand side is a very difficult to find first generation Stormtrooper that is made with a clear translucent style plastic. If you ever see one of these for sale, I would definitely grab it if it is within your budget. I have never seen one for sale over the last few years, either on Facebook or in eBay auctions, and these are very difficult to find with this clear plastic. I just thought you'd like to take a look at it. And now let's finish this video off with some of the awesome Polish Stormtroopers in my friend Jim's collection. Finally, before we wrap up this video, I wanted to show you some photos of the Polish Stormtroopers in my friend Jim's collection. Jim has a great run of these Polish Stormtroopers. In the top left, you'll see a third generation articulated Polish Stormtrooper, very similar in style and color palette to mine. The cream of the crop in all of these photos is certainly the poker cape unarticulated Polish Stormtrooper. In the middle, you'll see his Polish poker cape right next to Jacob Brzezinski's book on the Polish bootlegs. And in the bottom left-hand corner, you'll see the back of that cape where it says Obi-Wan Kenobi towards the bottom of the cape and has some decorative finishes. These are a very, very difficult item to find, and I was glad he was able to find one after about 3 years or 4 years of looking. It was not cheap either. In the top right-hand corner, you'll see a black and white unarticulated Polish Stormtrooper. This is another very difficult color combination to find. And in the bottom right-hand corner, you'll see an early photo before he acquired some of these rarer examples of Jim's unarticulated run. Going from left to right in that bottom right-hand photo, he has a whitewashed Polish, a light gold, a bright white and black finish, a bright gold, and then a black rubber with a white finish. So this is a great run, and I really appreciate Jim allowing me to show off some of the awesome items in his collection. That's all I really have for this episode. I hope that you guys enjoyed it, and please be sure to like and subscribe.